Hi, I'm Charles Renfro from Diller, Scofidio, and Renfro, and I've chaired the jury and also helped conceive the program for the Lyceum Competition 2015. This year I was really interested in tackling one issue in two ways, and the issue is aging. And it has to do with our aging population, but also our aging buildings and our aging cities. The thought was to try to think about how to build for the aging, our elders, within city centers, places that are acknowledged to be more healthful and more beneficial as people age, and to, at the same time, address some of our aging buildings, and in this case, the Empire State Building, New York's most lasting symbol, but also one of its outmoded buildings. So the challenge was quite difficult. How to think in a very molecular way at the root of society, trying to change the way people live and the way people perceive older people in this country. At the same time, how to deal with an icon and how to either make it more iconic or transform its iconicity or downplay its iconicity with this program. So I'll let other jury members talk about what the responses were and have a conversation there.
My name is Matthias Holwig, and I'm extremely excited actually about the collection of thoughts that were really brought here to the table. I think if we take all of this together, there's actually really hope that we can do the right things for an aging society with architecture and urbanism. So I think that the spirit of this whole kind of art, it's really going to have a lasting effect on our future.
I agree. My name is Todd Ebeltoft. I'm a previous recipient of the Lyceum Fellowship in 2012. And it was really fantastic to see all this work. I mean, it's a ton of different ideas and beautifully represented in many different ways. So it was great to be part of this journey and this conversation.
My name is Jennifer Sweet. I am not an architect, but I bring to the table expertise in healthcare. I am the CEO of a managed care company managing Medicaid lives in the state of Florida. What I found really compelling about the program was its multifaceted demands, and it required the students to get their heads around a population that they probably don't have a lot of exposure to or give a lot of thought to at this time in their life, and they don't give a lot of thought to issues of healthcare in that population. So we saw many bold architectural solutions. We saw many thoughtful presentations of solutions that were not in fact architecturally resolved. People really, really tried hard to get into the head of what it would be like to be that elderly person, that aging person. And so I was very impressed by the thoughtfulness of many of our entries. The winning ones did a number of things well. They either consistently developed the wholeness of concept, or beautifully presented their ideas, or came up with some really ingenious, some new ideas that surprised us all. So I'm looking forward to digging in and pointing at some of those.
And I'm Randy Morton. I run the urban design studio for my firm HKS, and we're here in my office. A really wonderful afternoon, by the way, Charles, and thought-provoking in in New York, the reuse of office buildings, which is happening all over the city. Like, I live in a transformed office building, which is now my apartment loft, and I think you find that this type of building is really adaptable to a lot of things. So to take something and turn it into something else is a very New York idea. New York's also a city that's trying to age gracefully. And New York has a lot to learn from older cities like London, for example, which has aged even more gracefully. But nothing is sacred in New York, not even the Empire State Building. So the challenge to come in and say something that would look like it's an untouchable icon should be addressed and touched and redesigned and rethought is maybe my favorite part of the whole exercise we went through today. So
Right.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would like to just cite a couple of the entries for their thought-provoking or original or radical or bold thinking. One of our merit winners didn't address the architecture of the Empire State Building as much as they addressed the economy about growing older and what it would mean and who would pay. How will our older people be paid for, especially if they're in New York City, which is a very expensive place to be. And so I think this prize, or this entry, deserves a little bit of appreciation because they didn't even think that the physical armature could be addressed before the economic armature is addressed. That was quite amazing. This is one of our merit winners who did a beautiful presentation that unfolds to become the entire Empire State Building, with also a very thought-provoking programmatic concept that imbues the building with spaces of spirituality and communal spaces that then impacts the image of the building. And I think that's what made this a very successful entry, that the program became the image of the building. I don't know if anybody wants to say anything else about these.
I particularly loved the cover, the opening sheet on this with the text which says, filling the empty state building, not empire, but the empty state building, which I thought the narrative and the graphic was perfect in all this gray space. Very compelling, grabbed you like that.
And then another one of the merit winners, simply a very bold statement to take the Empire State Building, which had been the tallest building in the world for many, many years. It is no longer, we all know that. But it has an icon that cannot be denied. But what if you could actually expand on its iconicity and make it be the tallest building in the world again, very cleverly framing the Empire State Building in a new way. I'm trying to find one of the best images here. Framing the Empire State Building with a new building and using the two buildings in combination with one another to make a whole new ecosystem and another kind of architecture which New Yorkers could be proud of yet again. Not that we're not proud of the Empire State Building, but simply to say that we are annoyed by places like Dubai and Shanghai that have trumped our height status.
I think there was an overarching theme in many of the proposals, which I find actually fantastic. It's kind of the programmatic hybridization of a building which today is mostly office building and a little bit retail and of course a little bit of a tourist attraction, but to bring in actually also living cultural facilities, gardens, landscape, all of these kind of things where actually when people getting older, it's very important that actually programs are coming closer. And many of them here, we're seeing that also very beautifully, I think, presented here already at the cover. We're thinking about that kind of either way, even a cultural hybridization, and also here, I believe in this proposal, there was a programmatic hybridization. So I thought that was great to see, that there's this idea about that kind of complexity that we have to bring into architecture as an answer to the future challenges.
Well, I'll add one thought on the merit winners, which is two simple approaches, either dealing with the middle of the building, meaning the top is always so sacred and the street life is always so sacred, and it's in the middle where I can have my biggest impact, which I think is a pretty powerful idea and practical in a way. And then another one, which is the building itself is so powerful, and how do I keep it yet change it? I think we found those two kind of categories. Really well done.
Charles, I think we wanted an idea from this one pulled out.
Yes.
It was a particularly ingenious idea.
Correct. So in this proposal, the contestant came up with some completely new typology concepts. So, for instance, imagining our seniors as not wanting to stop touring and visiting and traveling. What if a portion of this building could be turned over to senior vacation rentals, which would be serviced by the staff that are servicing the residents who live here, so that the medical care that they receive allows people to travel to this place. Also, tourism is maintained and the iconicity of the building is maintained, yet the middle section of the building is hybridized into a new kind of architectural solution that allows the living areas to be grown and shrunk according to need. One of the things we're also very interested in is thinking about how our elder folks can be made to be contributing to society still as they grow old, and growing old gracefully is one of the key elements to this problem. And here they supposed a live-work hub where their apartments could also be used as places to sell or display things that are made or created in the living spaces. So I think that's a really wonderful, positive way to think about senior housing. I don't know if anybody wants to say anything about our prize winners. That would probably be nice.
Or you should say something.
You want to
about
stop for a minute here? Just
Yeah.
Why don't we announce them? Do we have the names of the